On today's episode of the Cryptoverse. If you've been counting on institutional money to turn the crypto markets around, well, you may, and I say may, be in luck today, because Coinbase has started taking on their first clients for their custodial service. Also, Ethereum is experiencing huge demand for transactions due to airdrops, and if you ever wondered what it would be like to play a popular game like Counter-Strike on the Ethereum blockchain and get paid every time you frag somebody, well, this game called Warfield, which is currently in ICO, is exactly that. I might even put some money into it myself. I've played it, I'm going to talk about it today. So all of that on today's episode of the Cryptoverse. Stick with me for these stories. So here we go. Coinbase opens the institutional door to crypto. So this was reported by, well, it's actually on the Coinbase blog, but it's been reported by the Cointelegraph based on that blog. Coinbase custody targeting institutional investors now officially open for business. It says here to address what it considers to be the #1 concern of institutional investors, namely security. That's why Coinbase have launched this. Most institutions have heard about the hacks and they're like, oh God, you know, if I put my crypto somewhere, even if obviously they're too nervous to hold it themselves, and they're like, well, we need to put it, we'd rather trust someone else with it. So Coinbase are like, right, they're business focused, they're entrepreneurs. They say there's a market here for people who want a secure custodial service for cryptos, we'll do it, right? So there we go. Moving on from there, it says new custody offerings will notably be secured through an SEC compliant and infra member independent broker called Electronic Transaction Clearing ETC. The move thus explicitly targets institutions' concerns to abide by the terms of US regulators. So there's a second concern that Coinbase have identified. Institutional investors want to invest with regulated institutions. So Coinbase have hit both of them. They've got a special secure custodial service and they're doing it through the Electronic Transaction Clearing dealer broker so that it's regulated in the US. Double win. So I had a couple of things to say on this. There's lots of different institutions that could use this service. So ICOs, exchanges, hedge funds, any institution that just wants to outsource security to an expert organization can use Coinbase custody, right? And that bit where I said it addresses the #1 concern of institutions. Well, if there's been a lot of institutional money that's been too scared to come into crypto before now, well, may cause it to flood in. And of course, it's going to flood into the 4 coins that Coinbase supports, which right here is Bitcoin, Ethereum, LiteCoin, and Bitcoin Cash. So in terms of trading fundamentals, that's the kind of thing to look out for, right? Moving on from there, I highlight the bit down here where it says Coinbase Custody is the first to launch out of a suite of new products revealed by Coinbase in May, which it has said could, quote, unlock 10 billion of institutional investor money sitting on the sidelines, close quote. 10 billion? Whoop-de-doo, right? It's not a lot of money, is it? 10 billion. It's not going to make that much of a difference to the crypto space, but this is just the beginning. So every little helps in the beginning. Quite happily invite 10 billion of extra liquidity into the space. And also, Coinbase isn't single-handedly responsible for growing the crypto space, right? That responsibility lies with each of us individually. I do my bit, you do your bit, Coinbase does their bit, we all do our bit, and it contributes to the whole, and everyone benefits as a result. What we got here? Sneaking Weasel in the chat says, I like turtles. Excellent comment. Very excellent comment. I have no clue what that means at all. Probably trolling me on the live stream. Love it. Matthew's in the house. Good news. Bulls are being primed for a return. We'll talk about that in the market roundup. Oh, 10 billion per week at least, Mike says. If it was 10 billion a week, that would be some serious upside, you know what I mean? So anyway, hello from Australia there, Shah. Let's move on to the Ethereum story. Which comes from this site called Chain State, right? Well, just a quick note. What annoys me is there's tons of crypto news outlets who are completely anonymous, right? Whenever I find a new site like this that I've not cited as a source before, I'll go to their About Us page, the Contact Us page. I'll try and find what their legal entity is. It's nothing, right? You don't know where the hell they're based, if it's a real organization or what. Just because it looks like a news site, they can publish what looks like a news article and could be complete rubbish. So that kind of irritates me a bit. So fortunately, I did manage to corroborate this with some actual Ethereum blockchain info, but let's look at the story anyway. So their headline is Ethereum transaction fees increased by 7,000% due to network clogging airdrops, right? So it's saying, network fees have skyrocketed as late, yada yada. The minimum safe fee has increased from 50 cents to 80 cents from 1 cent according to Eth Gas Station, blah, blah, blah. We can verify that by going to Eth Gas Station and see right this minute, the real-time gas usage on Ethereum is 100%, and the safe low fee is about 28 cents. So this is changing in real time. So go to ethgasstation.info and you can see this changing before your very eyes. When I wrote my notes for this episode, it was 40 cents, so it's already coming down. In terms of the news story itself, though, it says, according to Eth Gas Station, the majority of the high gas transactions originate from airdrop issuers, which are essentially addressing to send tokens en masse to other addresses holding Ethereum. Recently, however, Fcoin, a new exchange, has encouraged an airdrop competition through its listing mechanism where ERC20 tokens with the highest amount of holders will get listed on the exchange. So there we go. So check this out. There's so many ICOs and there's so many new coins, it's absolutely critical you get listed on an exchange. Otherwise, how on earth is your coin going to acquire value? It's not, because unless you can trade it, no one can put a price on it, and therefore no one knows what the value is. So the need to get on an exchange is high for any given coin. And there are so many of them, it's so competitive. And the biggest exchanges apparently charge huge fees for it anyway, listing fees. It's a problem. So apparently this Fcoin exchange is saying, right, holders with the highest balance of any given coin, that's the one we'll list. So of course, those projects are like, right, airdrop, airdrop on all the various Ethereum wallet addresses in an attempt to get the biggest number of users. It may be worth it to them to just, make it rain on all the Ethereum holders, because then if they get listed on the exchange, the project themselves is probably holding a quantity of supply, and that's worthless unless it gets listed on an exchange. So they can just straight away make it rain on people, airdrop, and boom. The Ethereum network has been clogged as a result, but hey, it does say though, and bear in mind, this network congestion is expected to be short-lived, right? So once the airdrops are done, that's it. It'll just go back to normal, won't it? And as we saw on Eth Gas Station, the price is already coming down. It's already halved in the last hour from 40 cents for a safe low transaction to 28 cents. So fine, this news is going to come and go. But it's interesting, the strategy from the Fcoin exchange, isn't it? Don't you think, folks in the chat? Maybe I'm talking too fast. DigiByte, I don't know why that's relevant. Yes, I know that. Raging volume still, at least for the alts. Yes. Well, we'll talk about that in the market roundup. Yes, someone did request the jacket. Hello, Chris. You bought the jacket out. This signals a bull run, guys. No. Someone requested specifically, could I bring back the jacket? So this one doesn't really show up that well on the camera. This is actually a blue. It's got a flower pattern on it, but it looks black on the thing. So I don't know if this is going to work. But I'm always running experiments and see if I can respond to reasonable requests from the audience. So I can't actually remember who it was that asked to bring back the jackets, but whoever that was, that's for you. Right, that's enough of that. Let's just one final note on this Ethereum thing, which is basically the high demand for Ethereum transactions is a good thing, because that's fundamental demand for the Ethereum technology. And it shows that the features of Ethereum are in high demand. That's a good thing. So anyone is an Ethereum holder, if there's fundamental demand for it, just like Roger Ver says, you can't use something as a store of value if it doesn't have a fundamental usage as like a transactional mechanism. Ethereum is being used quite a lot, so there's a foundation amount of demand there to prevent the Ethereum price from crashing too far, because it's actually being used in the real world. The downside to a clogged Ethereum network is that a certain transaction fee, it no longer makes economic sense for certain apps to run. So I'm thinking about Peepeth, for example, which is a decentralized Twitter on Ethereum. Here's Peepeth, you might have seen that. It's peepeth.com. This is where you have to broadcast an Ethereum transaction every time you tweet out, which is brilliant because it's an unstoppable Twitter. Those tweets are stored in the Ethereum blockchain. However, because you have to pay for every transaction, it's going to be a struggle if you're paying 28 cents every time you tweet something. But that's the cost of censorship-resistant Twitter at this time, and it changes over time, right? This is just where we're at right now. So huge demand for Ethereum, not enough capacity. that's a good thing for Ethereum in terms of I'd rather have it that way than huge capacity and no usage. But of course, the Ethereum developers are working on it. We've got the Loom network coming up and also Plasma as scaling solutions for the future. But that's good. At least we're creating scaling solutions because we know there's the demand there. That's good, rather than the other way around. Okay, that's enough of the Ethereum story. Let's move on to Warfield. So I actually found out about this on bitcoinist.com because it says here, new online shooter on the blockchain lets gamers monetize their gaming skills. So blah, 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 yakety. They've got this token called Golder, which is like gold, I suppose, but Golder, it's an Ethereum token. And it says here, it's already available for PC and it's going to be released on, what do you call it, PlayStation and Xbox in 2019. First of all, I'm glad it came to PC first, PC games rule. So here's the game, right? It's called Warfield. It's a first-person shooter. They're in ICO right now. We won't talk about the ICO per se, but what's interesting is you bet your golden and then you win based on the size of your bet. For example, ooh, that was me. My throat, frog jumped in my throat right in the middle of the pros there. So here's a screenshot of me playing this game earlier on when I was testing it out. Right now, when you play it, you get an automatic 100 golden tokens, and then the economics of this are quite interesting. You'll see down the bottom right-hand side, I had like 4,000 ammunition for the free pistol that I got. So you get a knife and a pistol for free, and then you can decide whether you want to spend some of your golden on better weapons or just save them up. And of course, if you just go with the free knife and the free pistol, and you're really good with it, you get the free weapons and you can kill a lot of people and the golden tokens, then sweet. Whereas you might think, well, it's kind of hard to win with a knife and a pistol, so if I spend some of it on better equipment, I can make more kills, and so then you got to think about it, strategically speaking. You can also buy ammo. So if you're in the middle of a game and you go, oh no, I've run out of ammo, you can either get shot, right, and lose your bet, which I'll talk about in a second, or you can go, oh, I'll just spend some money to reload and kill the other guy. So the other thing you'll notice at the bottom here is you decide what your bet is, right? So one golder, I think that's I win one golder if I kill someone, and if they kill me, they won. And at the minute, the maximum bet is 100. So if you're a real baller, then you just bet 100, and you can frag people for whatever, and then if you get shot, you'd lose the 100, I suppose. So don't quote me on that. So anyway, this is where you place the bet just before you go in the game. I just put in 1 because I wasn't really sure how it works to begin with, so I just did that. What's really interesting, really interesting about this is it runs in your web browser. Seriously, you just click go and it runs right in Google Chrome. That was, to me, was absolutely gobsmacking, right? And it does use your GPU. As long as you've got Google Chrome turned on with hardware acceleration, I was actually monitoring my system while I was playing it, and my CPU was going a bit nuts, around 30%. My graphics card was about 35% usage. And I was hitting 60 frames per second, which you can actually see from my screenshot. If you see on the left-hand side here, it shows like your ping and your frames per second, which it only said 60 because it doesn't count any higher than that. And you can see in this screenshot, I was trying to draw a C in the pillar by shooting it, but whatever. That's nerd factor 10. But unfortunately, the bullet holes disappear after a certain number of seconds. I just couldn't shoot quick enough. Anyway, this is a really interesting project to me. I'm pretty certain this has got legs, so I'm seriously considering sticking some of my own Ethereum into this just as a punt. A, because I think the concept has legs, and also, check this out, if you go to the site and you click buy tokens now, the last time I looked at this, they're approaching their cap. There she goes. So pre-sale soft cap is like 185 million golder sold, and they're 152 mil, and then a hard cap is 188. Is that 188? Yeah. Or 1.8 BN or billion. Oh, 1.8 billion. Okay, so they're nowhere near the hard cap then. Big pardon. So they're near in the pre-sale soft cap anyway. I thought it was like 188 million, but it's a B. So it's 1.8 BN billion. So they're nowhere near the hard cap. Don't worry about that. But I might get in now because it's 60% discount on the thingy. I haven't spoken to these guys. They've not sponsored me or anything like that. I just saw the thing and I thought, this is solid. This kind of concept of what got me excited about peer plays in the beginning, because peer plays was originally going to be a platform like this, where people playing Counter-Strike could wager on their first-person shooter games, right? But that's now gone over to gambling, which I thought was a mistake. It's probably still going to work, but the emotional excitement around online gaming is far higher and the adoption is already there. So now games like this, and Ethereum is going to eat their lunch, but PayPlays has gone off to gambling anyway. So what do you guys still think to this? You know, Warfield Doodah. Is it working? Well, it's version 0.8 right now. It's a minimum viable product. That's another thing about the ICO that I think is a good thing. You can actually test the damn thing right now. So they're not asking for funding for vaporware, you know? Any comments about Warfield before we move on? No, 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 no. It was Brad that requested the jacket from yesterday. Nice one. Yeah, might have to go back to the grey jacket because it just shows up better on the black background with the white lights. Alrighty, that's enough of the 3 stories. Let's move on to the market roundup, shall we? So, we all probably know we're in a little crypto pump right now. We're sitting at $274 billion market cap. It's been trending upwards if we click on it on CoinMarketCap. There's a nice little full screen button you can click here to make it bigger. If we click 3 months, we can see it's starting to bottom out and returning back to where we were roughly around June 22nd, which was, well, that wasn't that long ago, was it now? So, bit of a recovery. The charts are actually more interesting. Before we do that, let's look at big winners and losers. The last time I looked, there were no losers, but there may have been some profit taking since then. Yes, there has been. So according to onchaineffects.com, there's only one loser, and that's Populous, which I hold some Populous. It's only down 1.66% to $8.61. Biggest winner is Bitcoin Diamond. Oh my goodness. $14.84, up 26%, followed closely by Syscoin, up 24% to $21. We got Loom Network, which we just talked about, 21 cents is that now, up 21%. So some green all in the top 20. So nice and exciting for everyone there. Actually, Bitcoin Diamonds, according to On-Chain Effects, is sitting at 18th place by market cap. Is that right? Not sure. I think On-Chain Effects calculates market cap slightly differently to CoinMarketCap. So I'll just take a quick look at CoinMarketCap to see where Bitcoin Diamond is in that list. Well, it's not 18th, is it? Diamond. Now, Bitcoin Diamond on CoinMarketCap is listed at 45th place by market cap. So, not sure what's going on there. Haven't got time to work it out on the live stream, so there we jolly well go. Let's move on to the chart reading. We'll do Bitcoin, talking about pumps, and what I think is, it looks like manipulation to the upside, but we'll look at that in just a second. So, get your requests ready. I'm going to do one user request right after Bitcoin, where I read the chart of your choice and see what I can pick out in terms of technical analysis levels. I will be going back to the beginning of the chat to find the first person that made a request, because yesterday someone was first to make a request and I missed it, and I ended up doing someone else's request, and they felt a bit mugged off. So won't do that again. So let's go look at the Bitcoin chart today. Actually, right as we speak, there's some selling going on. Oh my goodness me. Hopefully you've all watched that video of mine where I said I shorted Bitcoin and it didn't work out. When I say it didn't work out, I actually ended up breaking even. What I expected to happen when I shorted it was this. I haven't actually done another short position. When I shorted Bitcoin, it was because of this pump, and I shorted it right around here, and then it went flat, and I pulled my position off the table a few hours afterwards when it was looking bullish. So it's a good job I did, because then we had this other pump right here, and I thought we were going to have another sideways action before we pumped up again, but right now on the 4-hour chart we're moving down. So let's look at the 1 hour, because there we go. So now we're seeing some sell-off action. Ah, what a pain in the bum bum. If I'd have took another short position during this consolidation, this would be some good profit right now. However, what's interesting is it's hitting this downtrend line right now, which was resistance and now may turn into support. So if we look at the 4-hour once again and get some broader perspective on this, here's my white dotted line that goes down like this, connecting all the highs together, and it's now interacting with the price. I was looking at the 4-hour candle. Sometimes it does that, not that. Looking at the 4-hour candle from, this was from yesterday at 1 p.m. London time. That's when roughly the pump was happening during that 4-hour period. And it sliced this downtrend line. And I thought, okay, head on the candle, it might be resistance If we look at the 1 hour chart again, I was looking at these candles, and this little red candle came and touched the downtrend line. I thought, oh, it's turning into support, but then it sort of went flat, and now it's coming back down to test it again. It's slightly below it right now. This is interesting. People selling off at these reasonably high prices compared to where we were recently. Now, I just said that the pumps look like manipulation in the opposite direction, which they absolutely do to me. So you might have heard me talk about the dips, like when people were slapping the price down and these big volume spikes appearing. Well, like, see if I can find one. So like if I go back here to around about the 22nd of June, these crashes here were accompanied by these big volume spikes, and they were generally around where Bitcoin was at support. So like here, Bitcoin moves to support, sell off, and all the rest of it. But the same thing happens in reverse. You see this bar here, it's a great big volume bar. So that's big pump. That looks like, you know, someone buying a load of Bitcoin on a public exchange to push the price up. And it happened again there. And then in the last couple of pumps, it happened again there. This pump, great big volume to the upside, and then again a few hours later. And then again, look, this most recent pump up from the crack that blew us through 6,400, another great big buying spree. So, you know, it works both ways. The big manipulation, big volume that pushes the price down, that looks like the exact same thing in reverse. Although, as we speak right now, I mean, jeepers creepers, man. Ah, my goodness, I do now wish I'd have done reinstated my short position a bit later. So, first attempt in this phase after this big pump was didn't actually go anywhere. But second pump, I should have shorted it around here somewhere, and then this would be in some serious profit right now if I had it done. So, yeah, you win some, you lose some, and you break even. That's the most important thing. As long as you break even, that's a good trade. I mean, it really is tanking right now. Look at it. We're pulling right down, back inside that downtrend line. Interesting times. That is a bit annoying, though. Because this might turn out that I was right about the downward gravity still being in play, which is why I put a short on in the first place. Anyway, so now I said I'll do a request, so now let's scroll back to the beginning and see who wants to do the request. What we got? There's a few mention of coins, but not specifically about wanting to do a chart reading. So I'm going to look for the first one that asks for a specific coin. Well, you guys can't just post the 3-letter abbreviation for a coin. I'm not sure whether that's you just promoting it or whether that's you asking for a chart reading. So I'm going to have to roll the dice here and do ontology, which to me is the first most obvious request for a chart reading. So ONT then. Let's make sure we get the biggest exchange. So ontology, ONT, ontology, the identity chain. So Binance. So we do against Bitcoin or against the dollar. We'll do Binance either way. The cryptos, let's flip back to it. Well, actually, ontology in terms of trading view is only on Binance anyway. We'll do it against Bitcoin, shall we? Well, it's falling right now. Let's look at the 4 hour because I haven't done a lot of analysis on ontology. So let's zoom out. Let's get a perspective here. Using the triple screen, you should start with the general wind, which way is the wind blowing. So let's look at the daily chart to get the general sense of direction. Looking at this, ontology against Bitcoin and Binance, there isn't even enough data for a 200-day moving average. So the 50-day moving average is rolling over on the daily. So that's looking a little bit more on the bearish side. There's a little bit of a lower high situation going on there. You could even clone that and make it into a little channel. There we go. Let's just make it real tight. So that's its behavior for the time being. It's obeying that moving line of resistance and that moving line of support, barring that little outlier right there. And right now it's looking like it's going to break the low of the last 4 day. Sorry, not 4 hour candle, the last day. So I would assume, based purely on this price action, that the price is going to continue inside this. Oh my goodness. We need this to be a white. We need it to be thicker. So I'd expect it to do a way down here, and then away like this, and then away like this, you know? Just purely off those technicals right there. The only thing that would interrupt that is if it came across some previous support or resistance, which there is a line right there, which was the highs from April, the 10th and 11th. So yes, this channel would wave downwards in a two-phase kind of scenario, but it might break that pattern when it gets to this level, right? Because there was a breakout there, and also that was previous resistance. So it depends. It depends what happens when it gets to that price, which is about 69,000 satoshis. It's 69.71. Yeah, 69.71. So those I won't go over analyzing it, but because you know you can almost find any evidence of anything on a chart. So those are the first things that stuck out to me as the most obvious. Downtrending channel. Rewind the recording, draw it yourself, see what you think. See if you think it's going to continue in that channel. Also look out for that horizontal support line that it is going to be approaching in, I don't know, 2 or 3 days time at this rate. When it hits back to the April, it was the April highs actually. So let's see what happens when it gets to that point. Boom, I've done it. We've done everything. Excellente. So thanks very much for joining me today, guys. If you like this episode, go ahead, hit the like button. If you want to request a video or leave a comment or some feedback, you can do so down in the comments below. If you want to get some tips for your comments, go over to Steam and comment on there, because then I can tip you with some cryptocurrency for your good, constructive comments. And if you want to learn more in depth about cryptocurrencies, say if you like what you heard today and you would like to get more in-depth structured information, I've got a range of online courses you can take, such as the Digital Money Revolution course that will teach you the tech behind blockchain technology. If you want to learn practically how to use Bitcoin to make and save money, you can take the Secrets of the Bitcoin Triangle course. And if you want to learn all that fancy technical analysis, chart reading, trading strategies, and how to make money trading cryptocurrencies, take the third course, which is the Master Cryptocurrency Trader. Other than that, guys, that is all for today. I'll be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.